Okay. Well, we're almost a week out of the season, uh, and we finally got some names for who the Vikings are looking at for head coach. We've had a bunch of names out there for GM. I'm not even going to attempt to recount all those. There've been like too many to list. I'm trying to even remember if I can remember all the head coach ones off the top of my head. But a whole bunch of them came out today that they're doing interviews with. Um, uh, so let's see if I can remember them all. There's seven of them. Um, there's Nathaniel Hackett, who's the Packers OC. Kevin O'Connell, who's the Rams OC. Kellen Moore, who's the Cowboys OC. Todd Bowles, defensive coordinator from the Bucks. Dan Quinn, defensive coordinator from Dallas. Uh, fucking D'Amico Ryans from defensive coordinator from the Niners, and Jonathan Gannon, the defensive coordinator from the Eagles. I've never heard of Jonathan Gannon, but um, I wish him well on Sunday. But um, so those are the names. That doesn't mean those are the only names that there will be. Um, you know, but that's I would assume they're going to interview even more guys than that. And then there have been other guys that have been talked about, but they haven't specifically been linked to the Vikings. Or I guess technically like Doug Pearson's been talked about with the Vikings, but as far as the guys they're actually interviewing, that's all I'm going to go on for this one. Now I have no idea if any of them are going to be good. Now you got a couple former head coaches in there. Obviously Quinn was the coach of the Falcons for 23, and Bowles coached the Jets for a few years. And he had some bad records, but you can't. I mean, anyone who goes to franchises like the Jets, you gotta give them a break. Um, and I've already seen people being mad that like, why are we even bothering to interview defensive coordinators? I mean, there's nothing inherently wrong with hiring a defensive coordinator. It doesn't mean that you know. I mean, obviously that's one of the criticisms of Zimmer is that and I think that there's validity to it that he was so focused on the defense he just kind of he didn't didn't put the same effort or attention into the offense. That doesn't mean that is what every defensive coordinator does. Like there have been defensive minded head coaches who have won Super Bowls, um, and with really good offenses, and vice versa. Like it doesn't necessarily. I mean, Dan Quinn, Matt Ryan won the MVP one year with Quinn as his head coach. So I mean, it wouldn't be as simplistic as, oh, if we hire a defensive coordinator, that means we're gonna just ignore the offense again, because we don't know who if we hired one of the defensive guys, we don't know who they'd bring in to be the OC. It ain't gonna be Clint Kubiak. Clint Kubiak, hey, he's being interviewed or maybe he's already been interviewed by the Panthers. I hope they take him. Panther fans, get ready to see Christian McCaffrey run up the middle on second and long, 5 times a game. Um, but I, I'm very much, and I think a lot of Vikings fans are. I'm focused on kind of getting an offensive guy in here because there's going to be some degree of rebuilding with this defense over the next couple years. Because I think in 2 or 3 years the defensive personnel on this team is going to be completely different. There might be a few guys who are still here, but there's going to be a lot of changeover, and that doesn't mean that doesn't mean that your defense is going to suck for 2 or 3 years. I mean, you could bring in a better defensive coach, more adaptable than Zimmer was, and the defense could be much improved next year. But the way I look at it is we got a lot of high end talent right now on this offense, locked in. Very good quarterback. Sorry, Kirk haters. God, they've been insufferable this week, even more than normal. Uh, you know, we got him. We got an excellent running back. We got one of the best receivers, all pro in my heart. Um, and we've got a very good receiving core, and even like the tight end position is very strong. And then you've got probably 3/5 of an offensive line. And I've thought this every time we've had a struggling offensive line the last few years, like a better offensive coach can kind of work around an offensive line issue. Um, but we have a lot of talent on offense right now. In my opinion, the best route to winning next year and winning, maybe the next couple of years is really to maximize what we've got on offense right now. We haven't done that. Like Kubiak did not do that. Gary Kubiak did not do that. Even Stefanski, I don't really think did that. Like we had so many games this past year, especially where even with all the talent on offense, and sometimes guys are missing games and stuff, and sometimes you're playing better defenses and things like that. But there were so many points during this past season where the offense just disappears, for big stretches of games. Sometimes, I mean, like the Cleveland game, they go down and score a touchdown first drive of the game. That's the only points they scored the whole game. That's not okay. And I think I've been saying it, like I think a better offensive coach can really turn this offense into not just being pretty good, but they can be very dangerous and way more consistent, certainly. And I think that can lead the team next year. Like I think that's your best bet, because anyone who comes in here is going to want to win. They don't want to, no coach wants to come in here and, especially if like it's a new guy getting his first job, then no one's going to want to come in here and, do some big, long-term rebuild. Because guess what? If you have like 2 or 3 losing seasons, no one's going to fucking care if you're in it's not going to be trust the process. They're going to kick you out. So, I think the best way to win quickly is to get an offensive guy in here. So of the 3 offensive guys, you've got Hackett, you got O'Connell, and you've got Kellen Moore, who's very much been at the top of everybody's wish list. I think mine as well, because I like how you could say with like as far as Hackett, like how much do you really need to do when you got Aaron Rodgers? I mean, seriously, like how much do you really need to do when you got him back there? And that doesn't mean that if you work with a top quarterback that you can't be also a really good coach and a good play caller. But I don't know. I would need to see a little bit more. I would need to see a little bit more of an argument for Hackett. O'Connell, I mean, it's from the McVay tree. I mean, I've mocked the McVay tree. Like if you knew McVay as a kid, then they're going to hire you in the NFL. I mean, the Rams are certainly a dangerous offense. They've made, other than a few clunker games, they've made Matthew Stafford probably as good as he's ever been. They've got, if you go 1-to-1, look what he did with Cooper Kupp. I mean, I would think just based on pure talent, Justin Jefferson's better than that. What can he do with Jefferson? Obviously they've been kind of the hot thing in the NFL for the last few years now. So I wouldn't totally be opposed to him. I mean, I would be 100% opposed to anybody who's been mentioned so far. But of the 3, Kellen Moore is the one I would be the one that I would be interested in. I just the way you watched out and the way they run their offense is they use everybody. They use the run very, very well. And again, that's another thing. People are gonna be like, "Oh, you don't ever want to run." Well, yeah, there's nothing wrong with running the ball. The problem is the way we've run the ball a lot of times around here. And I think a better coach can do a better job of that. Like it's not like we need a tear down on offense. No, we just need a better minds on that side of the ball, better thought process, more consistency. We got the talent there. Say what you want about Kirk. man, the fucking Kirk haters this week have just been. It's like they're so desperate to have Kirk Cousins be traded, and maybe he will be traded. Like there's certainly not a zero percent chance that he gets traded, because maybe someone comes in here and they want to do something different, and if they do, then that's how it is. But um, and then as far as the defensive guys, you've got a couple of the former coaches. Like, it ended pretty bad with Dan Quinn. I mean, he was just fired 2 years ago, but you know, like he had success in Atlanta, you know, and then he's gone to Dallas, and he's helped Dallas improve their defense big time very quickly. Um, as far as Bowles, I hate the thought of bringing in anybody from that fucking Brady team, but you know, guess what? Part of why they won the Super Bowl last year is because the Todd Bowles defense allowed 9 points to Patrick Mahomes. That's a pretty big feather in the cap right there. Um, and as far as the other two, I don't really know much about them. You know I know D'Amico Ryans used to be a player. I don't know about Gannon, but like of the offensive guys, I would go more. Of the defensive guys, I would go Bowles. Um, but who knows? There will probably be other guys interviewed. So but these are the ones that we know right now for sure. Um, it's getting close. I mean, you know, no one's been hired yet. Kind of unusual. We've had a lot of, not maybe not a lot of coaches fired, but half dozen or so, and none of them have been filled yet. Usually there's one or two that get filled really, really quickly, and obviously there've been, other teams, interviewing guys. Leslie Frazier's getting interviewed again with I think the Bears, and and obviously Doug Peterson's getting interviews, and we'll see what happens with the Raiders. They're playing today. They get bounced. I bet they might still be looking for a coach. But so yeah, that's where we stand so far. But I would still predict that we're going to go offense for the head coach. No idea on the GM candidates. I have absolutely no idea. I wouldn't recognize one of them if they were standing in front of me. So, but yeah. Well, so the process is moving. We're getting closer to a new head coach.